kind of backyard would you want?
Frankly, I just want a nice, like, Twilight patio kind of setup. With some, like, sweet lights to hang out under. As kind of like sun's going down.
So you really want a deck?
It doesn't have to be a deck. It could be like stone with just some sitting areas or something. I'm indifferent. I don't know. I see all of those like really neat looking areas for like that our neighbors have set up in their backyards. I think like, yeah, that would actually be really nice.
Obviously, I'd prefer a backyard where you're not directly on top of your neighbors.
It's true.
And by that, I mean just 5 feet away from them through a fence. But yeah, I think I would also like to have, I mean, obviously, pool.
Yeah.
Though, I was perusing houses near my hometown, and one house had an indoor pool. And not just a small pool, it was at least 30-some feet on one side. I was going, wow, an indoor pool. How awesome is that?
I think when it boils down to it, the idea of an indoor pool is actually really attractive to me.
Well, especially from where my family's from, you would only really be able to use a pool 3 or 4 months of the year. And it's kind of a waste.
Yeah. And so having an indoor pool, I mean, might actually also be a bit of a financial burden, but at the same time...
I mean, I looked it up, and it, at least in the houses where I'm from, it could be a quarter to a third the cost of an entire house just to build something like that. But I suppose you'd get a lot more use out of it. Though, I wonder about maintenance and other things. You also have to worry about whether or not it's heated, what its connections are to the main house. You don't want to end up with things that you sometimes have happen at hotels where guests get poisoned by chlorine. Though I suppose... I don't know. I don't know what kind of chlorine levels you need for that. Oh, one thing that I saw that was absolutely beautiful was this trend of natural pools.
I think they're a neat idea. I question their wisdom comparatively.
Essentially, they are highly crafted. I don't know if they use stone or cement.
Hello.
Or, whoa, what happened?
I broke one of those things.
And it created a memory.
And it, yeah, it gave me a stamina boost.
Stamina boost.
Just a permanent one.
But essentially, it's as though you're making a pond that is more akin to a swimming pool. Maybe you even have, you know, filters or running water. Maybe not even filters. But the thing is, you're supposed to use a little bit of natural greenery. Why do I keep saying greenery? Water vegetation to act as the filters. And I don't know, they're absolutely beautiful. But yeah, I do wonder, I mean, given that they're not exactly like a traditional pool, yeah, would you have to deal with, say, animals hanging out in them? Would you have to worry about mosquitoes making it their home?
I don't know.
I suppose it depends on if you have those. A lot of them are outfitted with those little waterfalls, fountains, just to keep the water moving at all times.
Yeah. I would be interested to know, like, which, well, like, if it actually works or if it's more of kind of a fad thing. Because I don't like the idea of chemical treatments on pools, you know, just in terms of, like, not exactly nature friendly.
At the same time, have you ever gone swimming in a pond?
Many times.
What? a nice pond or the murky ones with
Both.
potentially leeches inside them?
After a while, my brother and I kind of insisted that we stop swimming in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm.
Because almost all of the lakes that we'd like go swimming in would have, little water parasites.
Oh no!
So, I hate their name, but they're called chiggers.
Yeah, I think my grandmother would talk about them in Kansas.
Yeah, so they're little bugs that effectively
Don't they really bite? They burrow into you?
Yeah, they burrow into you, so you end up with this kind of like little welty thing with like a kind of like a bloody spot, and yeah, there's just a critter in there.
Wait, did you ever have to pull them out?
You put nail polish on top of them.
Well, right, that's to...
And it just kills them, and then they just plop out after a little while.
Whoa, wait, no. It's supposed to suffocate them, and they're supposed to dig out on their own.
Maybe that's the case. I don't know.
You
Never happened to me.
You wouldn't want them dying inside you.
Well, I mean, your body just kind of absorbs it, but...
Ew.
Yeah. Like splinters.
No, usually they expel foreign objects. They don't really absorb other
Maybe you're right.
creatures.
I don't know. It's never happened to me, and I would very much prefer to avoid it having it ever happen to me. No, dang it, Concord.
Well, you're not selling me on the idea of moving to Minnesota.
I'm...
It's the only place that I've ever encountered a tick, and fortunately it was a wood tick, so it wasn't actually burrowed into me, but we went to your cousin's wedding, and it had such a cute petting zoo farm outside of it. But I suppose going around petting the goats and the kittens and all the other animals that were out there, a tick must have found its way up my dress pants. And it was kind of attached to my hip. And we pulled it off. But, I hate the idea of ticks. At least it wasn't one of those ones that actually embeds itself completely inside. Maybe it didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
But it was a wood tick, so it wasn't as bad.
I don't want to think about this too
deer
much.
ticks.
Ticks are freaky.
Ticks are terrible. Parasites in general are... Ugh. You know what? I often think about the preservation of species and biodiversity and such, but I truly do wonder, are there any organisms out there that serve absolutely no ecological purpose, have no niche?
I know ticks are like possum food.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, possum can eat upwards of like 20, 30 ticks a day, if not more.
But
than
do they
that.
eat the ticks off their own bodies?
No, they just go hunt them down.
They actually find them and they're just crawling on the ground?
Possums are cool. They're stupid as bricks, but like, in terms of like their ecological niche, at least in the U.S., they're happy little, pest eaters, I guess.
You know, it's a shame I haven't ever seen a live one in person. Maybe I have, now that I think about it. No, the problem is usually I see them as roadkill, which is really unfortunate. Poor things probably get hit in the middle of the night when they're crossing the streets. They have really large jaws.
Yeah. They have weird faces, frankly. But, I don't know. I still like them.
But going back to the whole parasites thing, I truly do wonder if there are particular parasites that could be completely removed from the equation and they would have no negative impact. Like their absence would have no negative impact on the world. That their sole purpose was just to sicken healthy animals.
I know ticks and stuff probably don't serve as much. Same kind of thing with mosquitoes, sort of.
Oh yeah, and mosquitoes are, I mean, just from the diseases that they spread, they're among the most deadly animals to humans. If not the most deadly.
Okay, stone deposit. Automatically pulls all basic stone materials into village storage? Huh. Oh, so I probably just walk over to it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, summer lamp.
But for instance, tapeworms.
Yeah.
What purpose do they serve?
Not much.
Is there anything that eats tapeworms, that relies on tapeworms for survival? I don't really think so.
I was coming up with a blank, to be honest.
All I know is that the concept of a creature living inside your intestines. Oh.
Yeah, not great.
Oh, and that people back in the day used them as a remedy for, you know, those seeking to lose weight. Oh yes, you know, have a tapeworm inhabit your intestines. You know, it'll take some of that unwanted calories and nutrition from you. You'll get thin in no time. Those parasites. It's interesting how, aside from that, there was also, I mean, people using leeches to clean wounds and get rid of necrotic flesh and stuff. I mean,
People are fools.
that's not quite so bad. Well, no, actually, the thing is, when they were doing it for the purpose of having bloodletting, no, that was foolish, but the leeches were actually good for certain wounds. But it really is interesting that they would actually encourage the use of tapeworms? Did they have a method of getting them out after the fact?
I think you can lure them out or starve them out, or I don't remember. I don't want to talk about this too much.
To lure them out.
No, you straight up can. They're
I mean,
stupid, and if they're hungry, like, you can get them to do weird things.
yes, but there's only one way they can come out.
2 ways.
2?
I think they can come up.
Wait, no, they can't go through the stomach.
The problem is, like, all of my recollections about, or all of my knowledge about tapeworms mostly comes from hearsay and random internet readings.
Uh-huh. No, but there are far worse parasites out there. And maybe we should diverge from the topic of parasites.
I would like to.
Because I was just thinking of the worst ones, worse than tapeworms, and I realized that probably isn't the best thing to discuss.
Nope.
Wow.
I mean,
But have you gotten a yellow one yet?
yeah, plenty.
Oh, you did. Okay. Oh, those ones are the yellow ones. The ones that look like scallops.
Money. Okay. Weird tentacles on Reef Ridge.
Debris, or as you like to say, debris.
Debris. Let's see. We can also get over to the Frog Town.
Oh, because you repaired the bridge?
Yep.
Or it was Fuji that repaired the bridge.
Oh, I put down the repair kit.
For Fuji to use.
Yeah.
If you could craft your very own apple,
Oh boy.
your very own apple
I would have to
breed-
eat a bunch of apples first. Is the answer.
Okay, well, let's...
You know, actually, while we're here, we should do that. So,
What do you mean?
well, I mean, you know how I've been talking about wanting to do, like, a video where I just talk about different types of milk? that I've started drinking.
Oh, you actually want to do a apple taste test?
Yeah, we just like buy a bunch of apples, and we just record me eating it.
Well, that'll be the wait, what?
And I just give my unbiased thoughts on apples. And then at the end of it, hopefully I'll have eaten like a gazillion apples, and then we can sit down and like rank them of like these are the primo apples.
I remember back in middle school we had this project where we were supposed to just figure out a question that we had and have something that we could do at home. So
Yeah.
it couldn't be a complicated science project. And the one that I had was, why do certain apples brown faster than others when cut? And because I noticed that my mom would get us different apples, and some of them would turn brown very swiftly, and other ones would turn brown at a very slow pace. And I was thinking to myself, what could it be? So I got a Macintosh, I got a Granny Smith, and I got a Red Delicious. And I predicted that it was sweetness. Red Deliciouses, I always knew that they would brown first.
It's odd because they're gross as shit and I hate eating them.
Really? You don't like Red Delicious?
No.
They're really sweet. They do have a little bit of their skin, their flesh,
They're
has a bit more of a bitterness to it. But the inside, however, tends to be on the sweet side. And
kind of, but it's like it doesn't hold a candle to Gala Fuji or like a lot of those.
how about Honey Crisp?
Honey Crisp is pretty good.
Or do you know what? Pink Lady is one of my favorites.
Pink Lady is pretty good too. Like, this is part of the reason why I want to do a video on it, so I can like remind myself which are my favorite apples, so I just go back to them.
Yeah, so I completed the experiment, and sure enough, the Red Delicious browned first, the Macintosh second, and the Granny Smith third. And it is, in fact, because of oxidation, and it's sped by the sugar, because it's like the starch. Apples are pretty starchy, and then they have the sugars. So it was really interesting. But when it comes to what kind of apple would I craft? I do admit, I like the ones with a little bit of tartness to them, but not overly so. You know what I mean?
I like my apples crisp and juicy.
Oh, you like the real juicy ones. Yeah, that's the other thing, too. Probably another reason why you don't like Red Delicious as much as they always tend to be on the drier side.
Yeah, they kind of
And
have
grainier.
like yeah.
A grainier texture.
They've got a grain to them and a sponge to them.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that most other apples don't.
Yeah, I could agree that crisp and juicy.
Like, when I eat an apple, I want to be refreshed.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, like, man, that was a good apple. Kind of like, man, that was good peach, or man, that was good nectarine. Whenever I ate Red Delicious, I was like, man, I got to get this out of my teeth ASAP because it's stuck there and I hate it.
Uh-huh.
Granny Smith, I was never really keen on. They
tend to be sour.
I like Granny Smith when paired with caramel.
Oh, for the caramel apples.
Yeah, because then you get sweet, salty, and a bit of, well, bitter. Bitter? Sour? Sour.
Yeah. Or tart.
Yeah.
Well, okay. What is the difference between bitter, sour, and tart to you?
Tart has a bit more bite to it. Bitter is kind of like...
Bitter might have an unpleasantness to it.
Yeah.
Whereas sour is fun.
Kind of, yeah.
And by fun, I mean you feel that puckering sensation.
So I guess I'm going to kind of flip the example a little bit. Sour is like chocolate in terms of sweetness. You know, you can have an intense...
Really? I always thought that chocolate, people describe dark chocolate as bitter.
No, I'm thinking just milk chocolate. Like
Oh.
just a basic milk chocolate versus like, I don't know, a Starburst. Like a Starburst is kind of quick, intense, and...
Well, and a warhead and a Sour Patch are sour.
Yeah. But it's like sour often is something that lingers. Bitter is usually something that doesn't. Unless it's an aftertaste, at which point, no thank you. I do not like bitter or sour aftertaste. I don't mind them in the immediacy of it, but the moment it starts lingering is the moment I start losing interest. I don't know. It's hard to describe.
I would have to say that Tart would be, of the three, the most refreshing.
Yes. Because Tart is often paired with something else, usually sweetness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's rare that you just have something that is tart on its own. Maybe.
It's just an interesting thing. Discussing flavor?
Yeah.
And the different descriptors used for flavor. It just made me realize that, yeah, for bitter, sour, and tart, they're similar, but they have a different connotation. But with sweet, what other descriptors do you have for sweet?
I mean, it might be paired with, like, delicious.
Yeah, but delicious is more vague. It can be anything.
Yeah, but you never pair delicious with sour. Generally. That's an interesting question.
Well, okay, so for savory...
I mean, there's umami. There's, like, umami and MSG, which are, like, very specific things that are...
No. MSG is a type of salt.
It is a type of
thing.
salt.
It's like a type of
but
thing that's supposed to mimic
people use it as
salt.
an adjective at this point because it is so ubiquitous. It's like garlic, for example. Garlic is a very savory thing for the most part, but it is so...
Garlic is... I think it would lend pungence.
Pungence, yeah, but it's got a flavor to it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of, now I'm really...
Now you're hungry.
really jonesing for some garlic mashed potatoes.
Well, we used all our potatoes.
I know.
The only thing we have left are sweet potatoes, which desperately need to be eaten.
Oh, we should cook them up tomorrow. Tofu and sweet potatoes.
That's a bizarre combo. Oh, hey! I think there might be a type of sweet potato pie that you can make with tofu.
I got a chunk. We should actually...
But we'd have to use the silken tofu.
Oh?
I know. I'm just saying. Silken tofu is the ingredient that you can use to replace all the heavy creams and such that would be used in a typical pie. Because you know how with pumpkin pies, you had to have that kind of... It wasn't a heavy cream, it was a condensed milk.
Yeah.
I miss grapes.
Buy some grapes the next time we're in the store.
Mm-hmm. I just find, as you were saying about apples, grapes can be hit and miss, depending on what you get. I actually find that of the three grape types, if you're looking at, you know, black grapes, red grapes, and green grapes, I actually prefer green grapes the most. Reason being is black grapes are a little rare, but they're also... you tend to get them a little overripe, and they're a little bit... What would I describe their flavor as? Just a little bit mustier. It's like it's almost as though they should have been intended for wine. They also tend to be a little smaller. No, I've gotten some big black grapes now that I think about it. But I think it's the skin that adds a lot more flavor, probably because of the the antioxidants
Yeah.
that are in the flesh.
Red grapes tend to be sweet and softer.
Well, the thing about red grapes, though, is I find that they can have a bad aftertaste.
Can, yeah. Not always.
And then with green grapes, though, I just find that they tend to be on the sour side. And they're that sourness.
Or tart.
They're the tart sour. Yeah.
I would say they're more tart than...
So I find green grapes refreshing. And they tend to last longer
Yeah.
because of it.
Their vines tend to be more substantial, too.
But yeah, you're right. The stalks that they're sitting on.
Yeah. I was gonna go over to Lily Butt today. I mean, I guess we still have time. There we go. I just gotta keep beating up... Oh, wow, I'm running out of money.
Oh, speaking of grapes,
Yeah.
one of Wander's favorite cereals is called Grape Nuts.
Yeah.
And I always wondered at why they're called grape nuts, and I looked at them and I went, you know, they do kind of resemble grape seeds, but that can't be the reason why. Maybe there's some ingredient in them that is derived from grape juice or grape something. But you looked it up and it was indeed because of the seeds.
Yep. Yeah, the grape nuts just kind of look like grape seeds.
Except usually we don't really see grape seeds because most of the grapes that we get are seedless.
Yep. We've mutated them horribly. Halt! Who dares enter the keep of Lilliput? Conquered! Guardian of the Grove. Ah, Guardian, huh? Explains all the racket. That dang Fuji has been waking us up with all the building. Thanks for fixing the bridge, though. Almost worth all the noise. Small sea folk tried to do the same earlier last week, so I expected to see them. You've seen Woody? Ah, yes, Woody. A very exuberant architect. Came here a while ago, wanted a few resources. We were about to help, but then they saw the state of our home and went to the waterlog to obtain more driftwood. Implored them not to enter such a dangerous place. But the fool wouldn't listen. They're not with you. You best notify Saguaro.
Saguaro.
Sea folk are always bundling around the bar. They're good-natured. I just worry for them sometimes. If you haven't seen Woody, there's a good chance they're in danger. Better go on after them soon. Oh, there's so many fishing spots.
Yep, another yellow shell. Ah, so you can actually catch things in a larger area.
Yep. Yeah, the further out it is, the bigger the AoE. Aw, she cute.
Ragosa.
Oh, I'm so very sorry. We're not supposed to talk to strangers.
Dart, he's a dart frog.
Hey, Ragosa! I think this is that greenling from the hamlet.
Oh, Spring Hamlet. How's Rana doing? It's been quite a long while since that they visited.
Yeah, Rana's way too busy. Last time they were here, they had so many stories of giant talking oozes they fought.
Is that like, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
Oh, Dart. Rana's just messing with you as usual.
What? You think I'm dumb? I just like how Rana tells them.
That's true. It would be nice to see that rascal again. You, Weird Grape, when you go back to the hamlet, could you check in with Rana? And tell them that we expect a lot of gifts.
Favor accepted. Those demanding frogs.
It's a frog. Huh.
Could you imagine if... Well, okay. So if they're fully formed frogs, then does that mean that they're more like teenagers or adolescents? Where's the babbies? Are they all in some kind of pool of water in tadpole form?
Maybe.
Could you imagine having a humanoid alien society in which they do experience a metamorphosis process similar to an amphibian? Wait, what was that about the Guardian?
Oh.
Hop's grave. Go back.
It's the Fortunate Guardian. And there was writing, but it was hard to read.
Oh, sorry.
It's fine.
I spoke right through it.
None of it seemed particularly immediately relevant. However, I think that might get me a new guardian to be close to. You know how it says, like, we're closer to a guardian?
But that guardian is dead.
Yeah, but I think I'm just supposed to look at the statues. I was assuming I was going to have to meet them in person, but I think I'm wrong.
Well, most of them, I think, are dead. As well.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least they disappeared under mysterious circumstances.
Yeah. The intro was a little confusing on that one. But if we see a statue, remind me to actually stop by it.
Heard you're heading into the rot den. Spooky stuff down there. But if you nab some of that driftwood, think of all the cool things that we'll be able to build.
Let's see. If I could build... Oh. Wait. I was just reminded of your question about if I could, like, make an apple.
Mm-hmm.
Still don't know.
Well, what color would it be?
Got a bunch of oranges and reds. Start going weird. Give me some, like, blue apples. Purple apples. Go nuts. Why not?
I don't know how you'd be able to breed blue into them. Maybe it's possible to achieve some kind of purple if you get a red that's dark enough.
Here's one. An apple that tastes like a really good plum.
How about an apple? I think they've actually potentially created one of these. An apple with pink or red flesh on the inside. Because you know how... I think I've heard of a pink pineapple as being a thing. And obviously you have yellow watermelons. You know?
Yeah.
I'm relieved to know that Lilliput's not behind our recent disappearance. To be honest, I'm ashamed to have suspected them of such treason. Still, you've done great work, Concord. It's nice to have a guardian in the outpost again. Been ages since the other guardians first came to the outpost in search of adventure. Gathered the Grove's best minds to the summer bar, even Winter Glade. Here they started construction on Vista Outpost, a new center for the Grove. Most of the Guardians embarked upon their grand voyage to procure more mana for our peoples. But their voyage only brought tragedy. Their ship never returned, and the golden age of Guardians came to a close. All the hopeful's who gathered here quickly left.
Oh, once again, is your deep voice making you
Yep.
yawn?
But for me and the other sea folk were unable to leave the summer bar. Since then, we have languished in our everlasting melancholy. Only two guardians chose to stay behind, Mandy and Plum. But it's hard not to feel abandoned by them. Now Guardian Plum is too haunted by their history here to return, and Guardian Mandy is cooped up in Winterglade's forest. Only the Grove knows what they're up to. I can only imagine the regrets they both carry. But a new guardian like you visiting, it's enough to rekindle our spirits just a bit. Woody is stuck in the waterlog. You'll have to find them. It's far too dangerous for the rest of us. We used to scour it for driftwood, but as time passed, we dug deeper and the rot got thicker. After people started getting hurt, I had guardians try to make sure no one moves in or out. As long as you have the dowsing rod, I know you'll be able to make your way down there. The mechanisms within the wood are most likely broken. But as long as you're crafty, you'll be able to make it through just fine. Just be careful down there.
I thought for a moment that you were trying to make a melon joke with melancholy.
I was trying. The best I had was melancholy, and then I kind of backed off of it because I knew it wasn't right. Have there been any statues that I've missed? Yes.
Statues?
Yeah. Statues are how we learn about the different guardians, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I thought we had to meet them in person, but I'm quite
Well,
wrong
there was
on
one
that.
with the pepper, but that one you couldn't access, right? That was all the way back in the first town. Or was it a strawberry? But it was up to the left, and I don't believe you ever got to it.
Yeah. We'll be going back. Love this umbrella. It's unfortunate its lateral hitbox is a little limited. Oh. It can hit diagonal, though. Not the most useful. Oh.
Uni.
Was this mine?
I thought I had voiced
Yeah,
it
you
for
did.
some reason.
Watch out if you're headed into the waterlock. It's gonna be rough down there. But give the rod a good fight. Okie dokie.
Oh. You actually want to go up here. Oh yeah, the rot got spooky in this area.
Is there
Here
a
we go.
purpose to turning on and off the lights?
Not really. I think it's purely aesthetic. I could be wrong.
I wonder if it would serve a purpose, though.
It'd be interesting if it slowed the rot down in the radius.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you do more damage. Maybe
Aha.
we can... Oh, look at that. Here lies Blue, the Iridescent Guardian. The scripture is hard to read, but it describes a beautiful guardian from the sea.
So now, unless I'm mistaken, I now have Blue as a potential guardian to get perks from. Same thing with the Frog Guardian as well. I'll have to be on the lookout. Ow. Wow. That was rough. Oh, it's because I was right next to the sign. It's one of my big frustrations with this game. Is that if you're next to an interactable, combat is...
Impossible?
Yeah, you can't attack. You will straight up just stand there and do nothing or look at the thing. Or talk to the character. It's usually not a big problem, but it's like it's real weird. Because it's such an odd design oversight.
It's why there are many games where you have to, what? Click and hold, or...
Yeah, or if attack and interact are different buttons, which they could be.
But then again, you're also playing on controller versus keyboard, so...
It's true.
Keyboard probably has more commands.
But not in this game's case. Okay. Tap to... I'm actually going to grab these. I have no idea if they work for this.
I know why the rain makes me feel sleepy.
Why?
It reminds me when we used to listen to Rainy Mood all the time.
Yep.
Back in college.
Yeah. Just... What was it? My iPod Touch running... No, it was my laptop. Just running it constantly. Always
It
slept.
was good white noise.
It was really good white noise, especially, you know, for college.
But then even after that, too. And of course, there'd be the rumbling of thunder. And the audio tracks, too, but... Was the site taken down, or it just isn't the same sound anymore?
We just don't have an easy way of loading it up anymore. Is
Really?
the issue. Yeah. Because we don't keep a computer on overnight.
Ah, that's true, too.
Let's see. Ascend 7 levels. Boy. Do we just...
7 levels of the dungeon? Maybe you should prepare.
Okay. Yeah, so now we've got hop. Dazzling spots give money, hand speed, and luck, but reduce my max HP. What are the other ones that I can get? Grab 15 items on the ground with the dowsing rod. If hit 50 enemies with the Dowsing Rod and use 10 Sea Dew. And blue is umbrella based, so extra run speed but reduce max stamina.
Was that you?
Yeah, probably this. Resting under an umbrella will heal Conquered and give a speed buff once per day. And completing the triple combo does extra damage. In a wider area. I want that. Alright. I'm tanked up. Ready to go. Let's clear out everything from my inventory in case this goes bad. I'm gonna go for a little bit of late night dungeon crawling. Is it wise? I don't know. I get both? Yes. You don't know if time passes at night. I think it's just kind of like you hit nighttime and then it's just kind of done.
Unless... Have you ever actually stayed an entire night out? I almost wonder if the rot becomes more and more destructive.
You see the timer, though.
Mm-hmm.
In the top. I don't think that changes.
Okay.
Could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure that never goes up.
It'd be really interesting if it was a situation in which the longer you stay out, the more powerful the rot becomes. Because they've had a longer period of time to stay out.
Oh, that's something. Ow. Shoot.
Yep, they have those shells.
Wait, what? Okay, there we go. At least I'll get my money. Oh! And he actually dropped a resource I haven't seen before. Okay.
Strikes me that those fronds waggling in the air actually just look like seaweed or kelp.
I think that's the point.
But they're on land.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
But fanciful.
Yeah. I think it works fine for what this game is.
It's supposed to evoke the beach. But then you also have the cacti around.
Yeah. Yeah, no, time just does not pass at night. I wonder how different our world would be if that was the case. I guess there would be no way. You just have this eternal night until, like, certain people just pass out or die.
Wait. No, the only reason why time doesn't pass in this is because he's awake and you're seeing from his perspective.
True.
Are you saying it would be dependent on one individual falling asleep, or everyone cumulatively has to fall asleep
Yeah,
in order to ensure the passage of day to night, well, night to day?
Because I know there's a number of people that straight up just, like, claim they don't sleep anymore.
Which is weird, because then they wouldn't be able to live. Or at least they shouldn't be able to.
I mean, they could just be liars.
I mean, the question would be, for them, does sleeping constitute as being completely unconscious, but then also what kind of duration? Would a series of short naps cumulatively and collectively be considered part of your sleep time?
I feel like what would happen is the world would... If everybody had to be asleep, the world would almost start, like, witch hunting people that are awake.
The stain will never end. Who's awake? You know that there would be people out there that would do it intentionally just to mess with everyone.
Yeah.
You'd have a cult of everlasting night.